Hey everyone, Mr. Mse here. This is a guide for round 5 of the 2021 FIA Manufacturer Series Stage 2, taking place at Dragon Trail Gardens with the Group 4 cars. And let's get this started by mentioning that you want to try to get the final turn out of this series of chicanes, right? So this right turn, you want to make sure that you get it right so you can get a good start to the final turn, which then leads to the start-finish line. Brake balance is at +2 in time trial in qualifying, but in the race, I have the brake balance of the Viper at +4 because tire wear is a massive issue. Your first braking point is after you pass the 150 meter board, so before the curb on the left starts, so brake hard for a while, take advantage of the whole width of the track and do lots of throttle control. Try to get the car pointing towards the next section of the track as soon as you can, so you can start to fully accelerate. Then bring yourself towards the right side of the track. Look for the second Pirelli sign, so just after you pass the sign, that is where you want to do a little bit of braking control and start to turn in. So you want to use lots of braking control, trying to take the whole width of the track without getting onto the red stuff. And as you approach the final apex, which is this turn right here, that is where you want to start to fully accelerate. And once again, just try to be careful with the red stuff. And then brake just as you go under this sign. So just as you go under it, start to brake, bring yourself all the way to the right. Try to take this left turn flat out, do a little lift if necessary, and then stick to the left side of the track and brake just as you're about to pass the 100 meter board. So brake right around here, brake on the tarmac first, and just be nice and gentle, easing off the brakes as you turn in, and gently get on the throttle so the car doesn't start to step out. Then you're pretty much going to want to go towards the left side of the track and brake just as you're about to pass the 100 meter board. You need to decide whether you want to go over or around the sausage curbs. Pick one and stick with it. In this case, I'm going to be going over the red sausage curbs. Just try to be accurate and make sure the wheels don't hit the red sausage curbs. Lots of braking and throttle control needed through these turns. Try to take this right turn flat out if possible, and then turn in before this curb on the left ends. A little bit of lift off of throttle, and then get on the throttle once again, and you are pretty much good to go. So that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a look at the strategies. For the qualifying session, you only have 5 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time, which means that you're only going to have 2 back-to-back chances to try to get the best qualifying time possible. On your outlap, just try to be careful with your tires because the tire wear rate is at ×10, so if you're too harsh on the outlap, you're already going to have a bit of tire wear, which can potentially impact your qualifying laps. So just try to be nice and careful with the car on your outlap. Try to keep those tires in good condition, and especially for the higher split lobbies, look for a slipstream buddy because slipstream qualifying is going to be a pretty big thing here. You have the main straight, and then the shorter straight just after the first hairpin. And then you have the other back straight leading up to the super awkward chicane near the end of the lap. So slipstream qualifying is definitely going to be a thing, especially in the higher split lobbies. Speaking of this chicane, this is where a lot of your time is hanging out at. So you need to be extremely confident in tackling down this chicane, as once again, there's a lot of time that is hanging out just in those series of turns. And once again, as I mentioned in the lap guide, you want to choose whether you want to go around or over the red sausage curbs and stick to that option, because if you try to do one lap you go over the sausage curbs, or another lap you go around them, it could lead to problems. And by problems I mean your wheels end up hitting the red sausage curbs and you end up flying off the track. So just make sure you stick to either going around or over the red sausage curbs, and at the end of the day, you only have 2 chances to try to get the best qualifying time possible. And let's go ahead and go on over to the race section of the guide. This is going to be a little bit faster than usual because I'm a bit short on time. So let's go ahead and start by mentioning that we are doing 18 laps at Dragon Truck Gardens in reverse with the Group 4 cars. You have both the racing medium and hard tires provided, and both tires are required, so you are forced to do a one stop to switch on over to the tires that you haven't used yet. Now, the problem with this race is that the fuel and tire multipliers are really high. Fuel is a times 6, tire wear rate is a times 10, so both tires and fuel are pretty big, or not even pretty big, they're more like massive issues here. So massive that if your car is really bad when it comes to fuel or tire wear or even both, you're better off skipping this race, and I actually do mean that. And especially with the tire wear, so if you're in a front wheel drive car, those front tires are going to wear out especially stupidly fast. But anyways, because tire and fuel are massive issues, you are going to be forced to do at least one stop, and well, you're pretty much only going to want to do a one stop as the pit stops here at Dragon Truck Gardens are pretty long. So as we complete our first lap, you can actually see the fuel on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Fuel is going down pretty fast, and I'm trying to fuel save. Fuel saving is going to be a pretty big thing here. You want to be doing most of your fuel saving by short shifting and trying to be under someone's slipstream. So if you're within 3/4 of a second between yourself and the next car, you are in your slipstreams, which means that you'll be getting a tow, your car goes a little bit faster, and you can take even more advantage of fuel saving by short shifting. And in terms of tire wear, how long your tires last will depend on the car that you're using. So for example, in my car, the Dodge Viper, I was able to get 9 laps out of the racing medium tires, but in reality, I think I should have gotten 8 laps. So you're pretty much going to be going for something like 8 to 10 laps on the racing medium tires, depending on the car that you're in, and then do the rest of the race on the racing hard tires. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the end of lap 3. We're already at 83% of fuel left, and I have been shifting around halfway with the Dodge Viper. So by short shifting around halfway in the Viper, I'm using around 7% of fuel. And skipping over towards the near halfway point of the race, you can see how bad the tire wear is on the Viper, and I had the brake balance at +4, and yet my times are already dropping off like crazy. Also, fuel saving, once again, it's a pretty big thing because you're going to see second place, who is in the Mercedes, go in for a tire change and refuel, and he didn't really fuel save at all. So he's at around 11%. I'm at 37% of fuel remaining. So fuel saving is going to be a massive thing here. And if you spend an eternity refueling, then you could potentially lose a couple of positions. So let's go ahead and pit in ourselves because I need to change these tires because these tires are pretty much gone. So just after the final right turn, bring yourself all the way to the right, and then you'll enter the pit stop area. So we use the racing medium tires at first, then switch on over to the racing hard tires, and we do have to refuel quite a bit. So I'm going to refuel towards the diamond, as that diamond tells me that if I refuel to this specific spot, I'll have enough fuel to be able to finish the race, considering if I still keep up with my driving style. So I'm still going to be short shifting around halfway. And my pit loss in this case was 25 seconds. I think just for a tire change, it's around 19 to 20 seconds, but with the refueling, I ended up losing around 5 to 6 seconds. So my pit stop was around a 25 to 26 second pit loss. And also be careful coming out of the pit stops because as you saw right now, I came out right in front of someone. Luckily, I was able to stay past ahead of them, but just be careful during your pit stops because you might have a little bit of traffic that you will have to deal with. And unfortunately, because the pit losses here at Dragon Truck Gardens are too long, a 2-stop is not going to work out. So pretty much at the end of the day, you just want to try to take care of your fuel and your tires, because both are really big issues. And once again, and I really do mean this, if your car is not good at all when it comes to fuel or tires, you're better off skipping this race, because with the fuel and tire wear rates being so high, it's just not going to be fun trying to do this race when your car is so bad at fuel or tire wear or both, to the point where you just end up at a massive disadvantage. Especially if you're in a front-wheel drive car, because oh my goodness, I don't even want to know what tire wear is going to be like in a front-wheel drive car here in this race. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about places to overtake and the penalty serving zone. So as we go through the final turn in a moment, here comes the first place to get the overtake done, especially with the use of slipstream. Also, just a quick note on slipstream: try not to lose a slipstream of the pack of cars ahead, because if you lose that slipstream, then it's going to be even harder for you to make progress while fuel saving. But anyways, this main straight, one place to get the overtake done. If a car gets a really bad exit through this hairpin by going onto the grass or hitting the barriers, you can try to go for an overtake down this smaller back straight. But after that, it's pretty much going to be single file line for a while. So as you go through the four corners, I call them the pentagon corners for some reason, you're pretty much going to be in a single file line. Don't go for a move just yet. Your next move is pretty much going to be the hairpin that is coming up. So let's go ahead and go through these twistier parts of the track. Just try not to battle with anyone, because you'll lose a lot of time if you try to battle through these twistier parts. This is another place where it is possible to get an overtake done. And the last place to get the overtake done is this sort of shorter back straight that leads to the awkward chicane. And try to get the pass done before you have to enter the chicane, because trying to battle your way through the chicane can be a disaster in the waiting, especially if you hit those lovely little sausage curbs. And there's actually two penalty serving zones here at Jungle Truck Gardens in reverse. The first one is after the hairpin, so in between the hairpin and the super awkward chicane of death. We just passed by the first penalty serving zone, and please don't get a penalty, because you will lose a lot of time if you have to serve a penalty. And the final penalty serving zone is just before the start finish line. So let's go ahead and go through the super awkward chicane of death, go through the second to last corner and the final corner, and the final penalty serving zone will show up in a moment, in which it is hanging out just after the pit stop entry area. So here is the final penalty serving zone. Please don't get a penalty, because you will also lose quite a bit of time if you have to serve a penalty here. But at the end of the day, this is a kind of long race actually. This race is around 30 minutes long, and with this very specific run, I was able to get a 30 minutes and 20 seconds. And yeah, this car, the Viper, it doesn't feel that good here at Jungle Truck Gardens. I'm also particularly not that good here at Jungle Truck Gardens. Both the original and reverse configurations, this track just doesn't feel that good, even more so than the Viper. But yeah, 30-minute race, so get ready to focus down and try to deal with lots of fuel saving, tire saving, and also dealing with the super awkward chicane of death. So that's all from me. This is once again a one-stop race where you need to do a lot of fuel and tire saving. So for those who are doing this race, good luck. And yeah, so that's all for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. And if you like this video, you can press the like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I do have a membership program thing, which you can check out in the description down below. But that is all from me. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. CA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, I have some really cool things I want to announce soon, so